Thanks for tuning in and welcome to the Post Route Show. And now, here's your host, W. Earl Kitchings.
And good evening and welcome to another edition of the Post Route. I'm your host, W. Earl Kitchings. As always, we like to bring you conversations with quarterbacks, black quarterbacks, of course, from the past and present, as we dive deep into conversations with these gentlemen. This show is proudly brought to you by Quarter Five Back, the preeminent fraternity for black quarterbacks and home of the prestigious BIP Memorial Trophy, the only national award that honors both the top HBCU quarterback and the top black quarterback from high schools across America. We are always happy to have you join us here on the Post Route, and we only ask you do a couple of things to help our success continue. If you like what we're doing, hey, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss out on one of our shows. And hit the like button. See something we're doing you like? Hit the like button so we know you're out there letting us know. Join us live every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more phenomenal post-route shows. Well, depending on what part of the country you're in, we are into week 3 of the high school football season, week 2 maybe of the college season, and week 1 of the National Football League season. And man, has it already been a phenomenal year. And we are just excited to bring you that information about those guys who are doing their utmost best to be the top quarterback they can be for their respective teams and programs. And we just want to make sure we keep them at the forefront of who they are and what they're doing. But before we do that, as you know, each month we select one quarterback that we will add to our roles of being in the fraternity, posthumously, of course. So our posthumous honoree tonight is none other than Mr. Wilmuth Sadat Singh, the first black quarterback at Syracuse University. Wilmuth Sadat Singh played at Syracuse from 1935 through 1938. Yes, I know you don't know much about him, haven't heard much about him, but he was an all-around athlete when he played for the Orangemen, when he was at Syracuse, played football and played basketball. Now, after his time was over in college, his probably most recognizable achievement would have to be the fact that he was a member of the prestigious group of men known as the Tuskegee Airmen. This gentleman was a member of that elite group of fighter pilots. So we are honored to make him a member of the fraternity of black quarterbacks, Q5B, Quarter 5 Back, posthumously recognizing Mr. Wilmuth Sadat Singh, first black quarterback at Syracuse University in 1935. Congratulations to him and for his family members who may still be living today. Hopefully we will transition and get someone to find out about what we're doing and recognizing their loved one and their family member and give us a shout out or give us a call and thank us for making him a part of this lifetime fraternity, Q5B. Now, as I started off by saying, week 3, high school football, and we are definitely into what's going on with those guys on that list. So let me just go through my top 15 guys for high schools, black quarterbacks for high schools around the country. And then I'll wrap that up with the high school quarterback of the week. At number 15 from Homewood High School in Homewood, Alabama. He's a senior, has 667 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, and he is 48 of 73. Number 15, Caleb Carson from Homewood High School in Homewood, Alabama. At number 14, Willie Jones, a freshman from Arabia Mountain out in Lithonia, Georgia. 720 yards is where he's at on the list. 5 touchdowns, 50 of 90 in the passing, 4 interceptions. At number 13, a guy who was in our top 10 and who has dropped down, probably because they didn't have that big of a game. But out in Burbank, California, he was our first player of the week, quarterback of the week, from Burbank High School in Burbank, California. Deshaun Laporta. He's a junior, 731 yards and 9 touchdowns. At number 12, Joshua Scott from Stockbridge, Georgia, Stockbridge High, 700 plus yards for him. At number 11 is Jamarcus Harrison from East Hall High School in Gainesville, Georgia. He's a senior, 732 yards and 11 touchdowns. At number 10, Jordan Wiggins, another Georgia product, another freshman from Northeast High School in Macon, Georgia, 738 yards, 13 touchdowns on the season. Played 4 games. Some of these guys have played 4 games. Some have only played 3. At number 9, Brenton James from St. Augustine, Florida, St. Augustine High School. He's a junior, 741 yards, 10 touchdowns. At number 8, Caleb Stanley, a senior out of South Staley High School in Norwood, Georgia, 743 yards and 9 touchdowns. At number 7, Jarrell Crawford from Walkertown, North Carolina, Walkertown High. The senior has 804 yards, 9 touchdowns. At number 6, Jeremiah Lattier, a sophomore from St. Cloud, Florida, St. Cloud High School, 806 yards, 10 touchdowns. At number 5, Jelani Dipple, the junior from Central East out in Fresno, California, 807 yards through 3 games, 9 touchdowns. At number 4, Dylan Reese, making his first impact on our list from Parker High School in Birmingham, Alabama, a senior, 813 yards and 11 touchdowns. At number 3, Terrence McCormick from New Bern High School in New Bern, North Carolina, 844 yards, 7 touchdowns. At number 2, Star Thomas. Great name for an athlete. Just a sophomore at Orange High School out in Orange, California, 868 yards, 4 touchdowns through 3 games. But the guy at the top of the list for the second week in a row, Xavier Jeter, junior from Midland Valley High School in Graniteville, South Carolina, 1,070 yards and 8 touchdowns. Those are our top 15 quarterbacks in week 3 of our quarterback national watch list. So we're going to get to our quarterback of the week for high school. This young man had a phenomenal game last week, and he is a member of Quarter-Five Back Fraternity. Darnell, the created player Kelly, the senior who's now playing at Langston Hughes High School in Fairburn, Georgia, didn't have a lot of passes, but he racked up the yards against a strong Douglas County team as they defeated 6A Douglas County. Langston is a 5A school by the score of 44-31. The created player had 4 touchdowns. He went 11 for 14, no interceptions, 339 yards. He was spinning that football last week in a big game for that school because, just to give you an idea, Douglas County is not too far from Fulton County, and then Langston Hughes High School, I'm going to say they are within a 30-mile proximity. So they're almost like backyard rivals. And last year, Darnell Kelly was at Norcross High School up in Norcross, Georgia, transferred to a new program, a new system, and already letting you know why he's known as the created player. Because with his 339 yards and 4 touchdowns last week, he is definitely going to be on the radar of some colleges for the upcoming season. Our week 3 high school quarterback of the week, Darnell, the creative player, the senior from Langston Hughes High School in Fairburn, Georgia. Congratulations to our frat member and this outstanding quarterback, Darnell Kelly. Now, as we get ready to continue our efforts to bring you the news about quarterbacks at the high school, collegiate, hadn't started getting into the pros yet because they're just getting started, but we're going to talk a little bit about some history that was made this past weekend for the professional ranks of the NFL. But before we do that, we want to give you our list of the top 15 college quarterbacks of the week. And that list is also a phenomenal list of guys. So let me start off by going from the bottom to the top. These are the top 15. At number 15, Jalen Tolbert of Alcorn State. At number 14, Christian Peters of Arkansas Pine Bluff. At number 13, Cameron Peters of Prairie View. At number 12, Dalen Lee of Winston-Salem State. At number 11, Isaiah Tate from Lincoln University out in Lincoln, Missouri. Now, for our top 10, let's get to those guys. At number 10, making his first appearance on our list, the quarterback from Tuskegee University, had a phenomenal game playing against Central State this past week, shutting out the Marauders. That guy, his name is Raquan Beal, the senior from Tuskegee out of the SIAC. He is now number 10 on the list with 376 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Raquan Beal. At number 9, guy who was on our list last week, he continues to stay on our list from Clark, Atlanta, Mr. Zy McDonald, the graduate student, Clark, Atlanta, 382 yards, 3 touchdowns. Coming in at number 8, one of our frat brothers again. You know, it's just amazing how these guys continue to show up on these lists, and we're so proud to have them. Formerly of Langston Hughes, Langston University, now at Kentucky State. That would be Mr. Torrance Bardell, the graduate student, now at 383 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had a very tough ball game this past week, but he is at number 8. At number 7, another guy we're proud of. He is a member of our frat list, Mr. Cornelius Brown IV, the senior from Alabama A&M out of the SWAC conference. He's on board at 390 yards at number 7. Coming in at number 6, making his first appearance, R.J. Johnson III, a junior at Florida A&M University out of the SWAC, another SWAC member, 405 yards, 2 touchdowns. Coming in at number 5, got a chance to see this gentleman play, transferred in this past year from Southern University, now playing for the Edward Waters Tigers. Already the Tigers are making that noise in the SIAC. They are undefeated, led by this guy, Noah Bodden, the graduate student at Edward Waters, 421 yards and 5 touchdowns as they defeated Miles College this past week by the score of 46-14. Coming in at number 4, another superb guy from Albany State, Mr. Isaiah Knowles, the senior, formerly of the Naval Academy, now at Albany State, coming in at 473 yards, threw 6 touchdowns this past week. Man, he was really spinning that football. Threw 6 and also scored 1 as Albany State found their way into the victory circle again. It's going to be a battle in the SIAC, as we are already seeing, because between Edward Waters and Albany State, and I believe they're in the same division, it's going to be a tight battle. And Isaiah Knowles is already letting you know that the Rams are here to let everybody know that they are in contention for the SIC AC championship. Coming in at number 3, another one of our fraternity members now at Johnson C. Smith, Mr. Kelvin Durham, the transfer from Fort Valley at 477 yards and 3 touchdowns. Then a gentleman who is definitely going to be in the hunt for the BIP Memorial Trophy with 510 yards, 6 touchdowns, and we're so happy that he is making a comeback from Alabama State out of the SWAC, Mr. Andrew Body. And then heading up the list for the second consecutive week from Virginia State out of the CIAA, 642 yards, 4 touchdowns, Mr. Rashawn Matthews, the redshirt freshman, is making his presence felt in the CIAA, and we're going to see how he leads them, because between Virginia State, Johnson C. Smith, and we haven't heard anything from Virginia Union as of yet, but just know that those Panthers out of Virginia Union are always in the hunt. So there we have it. Our top 15 HBCU quarterbacks in week 2. Rashawn Matthews from Virginia State, Andrew Body at number 2 from Alabama State, Kelvin Durham at Johnson C. Smith in the 3rd spot, Isaiah Knowles from Albany State in the 4th spot, Noah Biden from Edward Waters in the 5th spot, R.J. Johnson Jr. from Florida A&M in the 5th spot, Cornelius Brown the 4th from Alabama A&M in 6th, Torrance Bardell from Kentucky State in 7, Zy McDonald from Clark Atlanta in 8, and Raquan Beal from Tuskegee finishing out at number 10. That's our list. And now we're going to give you our HBCU quarterback of the week, and that would be Mr. Isaiah Knowles, the graduate student at Albany State. 304 yards, 6 touchdowns, almost 400 yards of total offense. He threw six and scored 1 as he led the Rams to a phenomenal win this past weekend. And we are just excited to have him as our HBCU quarterback of the week for quarter 5 back, Isaiah Knowles. So those are our guys for this week. Salute to all of them as we continue to get ready to head toward the end of the season, but we are only in week 2 and week 3 of the college and high school seasons. Now, when we talk about the pros, when we talk about that next level where a lot of these young men aspire to be, please note that as they continue to seek that level of competition, that level of play, that level of visibility, you got to know that when you look at how many quarterbacks are in the NFL, if you just say there is an average of 3 per team, there are 32 teams, there are almost just only 100 slots in the NFL for quarterbacks. 100. That's about it. And this past week, history was made. 32 teams in the NFL. 32 teams in the NFL. 50% of those teams started a black quarterback on opening day in 2025. 2025 is already starting out to be another historical year. You know, a couple of years ago, we had 4 black quarterbacks drafted in the very first round. Now you're seeing the quarterbacks with their income levels being very, very, very prominent. So what we want to do is give you the names of the quarterbacks for the teams in week 1 that made history this past week. Starting with the first guy on our list. And that would be, I'm waiting on it to show up on the screen. That's why I'm pausing. I believe that would be Kyler Murray, who plays for the Arizona Cardinals. They call him the Desert Lightning. Kyler Murray. Going to start with him being one of the 16. The next one on the list of 16 who made history this past week would be Mr. Caleb Williams, formerly of USC, now in the Windy City playing for the Chicago Bears. Caleb the Creator. That's the second guy. Third guy on the list who made history. The rookie from Washington, University of Washington. Penix Rising, the Air Force in Atlanta. Michael Penix Jr., playing for the Atlanta Falcons, was the third guy. Coming in at number 4, Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. Man, did they play a phenomenal game on this past weekend, and they showed you what they are getting ready to get put down this upcoming year. All you need is Love. Hey, that's a great nickname to have. Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers. Following Jordan Love, Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers took a tough loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that young man knows how to rebound. So we're going to keep our eyes forward on him. The next guy, Fields of Fury, the dual threat quarterback for the New York Jets, Justin Fields, formerly of Chicago and Pittsburgh, but now I believe he's going to really make some headway with those Jets. Looking forward to that. Cam Ward, another rookie for the for the Tennessee Titans, and he's going to be doing a great job for the Titans this year. Number 1 draft pick overall in the 2025 draft, formerly of the Miami Hurricanes, now playing with the Tennessee Titans. That's Cam Ward. Our next guy, C.J. Stroud. Keep your eye on the Stroud, because not only was he phenomenal in 2024, he could find himself leading the Texans in the AFC Championship games if teams aren't careful. A very phenomenal guy, very heady guy, very sharp guy, and he is knowing what he's doing on the football field. C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. Coming in next, Spencer Rattler, finally solidifying himself as the starting quarterback with the New Orleans Saints, formerly of the University of South Carolina. He is definitely going to strike for those Saints, and with some time and experience, he should be a guy to be aware of over there in New Orleans. The next guy coming up, probably, if not the most dangerous guy in the NFL, the second most dangerous quarterback in the league when we talk about being a dual threat. Action Jackson, hey, that goes without saying. He can run it, he can throw it. It does not matter. The Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson could be seeing another MVP season, although he's going to be headlocked in a battle with Josh Allen and, of course, Patrick Mahomes. Following Lamar, Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders, the commander-in-chief, phenomenal quarterback, led the Commanders to the playoffs last year, and they are looking to repeat that. But, of course, playing in that conference with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, maybe even the Giants might talk it up a little bit, and I don't want to count them out yet, but the Dallas Cowboys still could be in the running. But look out for those Commanders with Jaden Daniels leading the way. Our next quarterback, Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders. Formerly with the Seahawks, he is now a Raider, and he is probably the most seasoned veteran. You can almost say granddaddy because he's been around that long, but he is the consummate veteran in the NFL for black quarterbacks. Geno Smith, an outstanding quarterback, formerly leading those Seahawks, but now hopefully trying to lead the Raider Nation back to some prominence over there in the AFC West. Got his hands full with those Kansas City Chiefs, though. Next on our list,
Mr. Kitchings, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, that would be Mr. Russell Wilson, the Giants.
Okay. So our next quarterback is Russell Wilson. So what happened to because my screen is blank. That's why I stopped.
All right, we're going to take a timeout and I'll post the commercial and we'll bring you right back.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that technical glitch, but it happens. You know it happens. Technology, as great as it is. Our next quarterback on the list is Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion, now with his, I believe, his fourth team, New York Giants. Hopefully he's going to help them this year. Also on that team is Jameis Winston. We'll have to see how that goes. So Russell Wilson still cooking with those Giants, but we're going to have to see. He's got his hands full because the Philadelphia Eagles are the team to beat over there in the NFC East. Following Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. Took me a long time to figure out what the Dak was for, but it's for Dakota. If some of you who don't know, I just want to make you aware. If you don't know, Dak is short for Dakota. But Dak Prescott is a consummate quarterback, looking very good for the upcoming year. Started off the season pretty tough in his opening loss, but he looked very, very good. Looked like the Dak Prescott of old. So we're going to see what the Cowboys can put together and see if they can upset some people or, spoil some games. Dak Prescott, our next quarterback, the guy who we all have found to be one of the most phenomenal quarterbacks to ever play this game, Patrick Mahomes. Man, that guy can just spin it any kind of way he can spin it. Sidearm, over the top, you name it, he can do it. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC. And we'll see if they can get back to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts. This young man is definitely making his presence known in the NFC with a Super Bowl championship behind him now. Most teams want to just repeat. So we'll see if the Eagles can come back and repeat for doing what they did in 2024. They've got all the pieces in place. It's just a matter with like all teams, whether or not they can stay healthy for 17 games. If they can stay healthy and get the job done when they're supposed to, the Eagles should see their way back to the Super Bowl. but they've got all the pieces in place. So the season is filled with many, many, many opportunities for these guys to make some noise. And those were the 16 quarterbacks, black quarterbacks, who made history this opening week of the 2025 NFL season by being black quarterbacks who started for their teams. 32 teams, 16 black quarterbacks started, another record set by the NFL. So we want to continue to keep our eyes on our guys throughout the upcoming year. We will bring you our watch list for the NFL guys as the season moves forward. So we've got 1 week behind us. So next week you'll see the listing for this past 2 weeks. So we're probably a week behind, but we'll catch up. But no matter where we are with our listing, we will keep you abreast of who's at the forefront of our watch list, the high school, college, and pro levels. Now, I got to tell you this. We are definitely working to make sure not only do we have the collegiate list for the HBCU teams, but also for the FCS schools and the FBS schools as well. So as we can work to compile these lists, we'll bring them to you as we update them and bring them to you as we have compiled those lists. So please bear with us. It is an arduous task to compile these stats week in and week out, but we're going to make sure we get it done because all roads lead to the 2025 Bill Memorial Trophy for high school quarterbacks, black quarterbacks for the high school, and for the HBCU quarterbacks, black quarterbacks at the HBCU level. So stay with us throughout this year because we are just getting started. Shout out, while I'm thinking about it, to one of our younger members of our fraternity, Mr. Jason J.J. Humphreys. Got a chance to go see some Pop Warner football on Saturday. And I want to congratulate J.J. Humphreys. Tough ball game. First game for him. He's just in the 4th grade. New team, new environment. First night game for him. They were not as successful as they wanted to be. Took a tough loss, but congratulations to him for putting together an effort. Just going out there and doing the best job he could. So, JJ, keep your head up and keep going. And if anyone else would like to send us information about their Pop Warner team, their middle school team, please send it to us so we can give you a shout out and make sure we know what you're doing from week to week, because as we continue to build the fraternity, we want to make sure we acknowledge our fraternity members each week here on the Post Route and with Quarter Five Back. If you have not gotten your copy of my book, The Forgotten QBs, the little known history, information, and statistics about black quarterbacks in American college football, I suggest to you to please send me an email at quarter5back@yahoo.com and put your order in for this extraordinary book so you'll know about the black quarterbacks who've made their presence known. Not all of them, but many of the ones you haven't heard about and many that you may know about who played this game of college football from 1903 to 1990. This book is filled with much information. I guarantee you for $35, it is one heck of a buy, and you want to make sure that you get your copy. The Forgotten QBs by me, W. Earl Kitchings. You can order it. Just contact me on our email through our website at quarter5back@yahoo.com. And don't forget, if you want to find out about the historical value of black quarterbacks who have played this game, go to our website at quarter5back.com. Click on the blog icon, and you will see our newsletters. Same name as our show, The Post Route, and you can read and find out about some of the most phenomenal quarterbacks who have either played for some phenomenal programs, both at the black colleges and the mid and D2 levels and major levels. And you can also find out about some of the individual quarterbacks who have made their presence known in this game of football that many of you may have never heard of. Some of them have won national championships at either the Division II level or the NAIA level. And we just want you to know that these gentlemen are out there. Some have set records in their conferences. You know, for many schools up until maybe the 70s, the passing game was not that prevalent in college, not that prevalent in high school. But since the 70s, passing that football has become more and more prevalent. So some guys set records of throwing for 2,000 yards back at their colleges back in the 60s. And I know that may not sound like a lot, but you got to remember when college football, even high school football and the pros was all about running the football, the game of throwing the football was not as predominant as it's becoming nowadays. So what we've done, we've put together our newsletters to feature programs that have had black quarterbacks. Just to give you an idea, Auburn University has had over a dozen black quarterbacks to head up their program as starters, not just overall, but as starting quarterbacks. And you can only find out some of this information about some of these schools by going to our website and clicking on that blog for our newsletters. So we are here to provide you with as much information and content as we can here on the Post Route and here at Quarter Five Back. And that's what our job is, to preserve the to preserve the legacy of black quarterbacks who have played this game of football at all levels. We want to thank you for joining us for this edition of tonight's show. I'd like to thank my awesome staff for helping to make this another awesome show by being a part of what we do here every week here at the Post Route. And as we continue to improve what we're doing, please note that as we go forward, we're looking at bringing you another aspect of what we're going to be doing by bringing you one of our members to give you some insight into the game from the psychological standpoint of sports. That will be Dr. Will Kitchings, who will bring you about a 2 to 5 minute excerpt on his program, what he's doing as a sports psychologist and how it factors in to the whole makeup of helping our athletes become better, both physically and most importantly, mentally. So we are constantly working to update and bring you more content and bring you more things of interest. But until we get to our next show, we want to thank you for tuning in. Please join us next Monday night for another edition of the Post Route. And as we always say here on the Post Route, go deep and go for the bomb. Till next Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're going to say bye-bye from now. Take care.